Arne, lots of challenges for your team in the end tonight. How impressed were you with the way they came through them?
First half really good, good performance, played really well, 2-0 up. It didn't came as a complete surprise to concede the goal, because I think before that we were starting to get a bit sloppy. Lost 1 or 2 easy balls in my opinion. And then they came back in the game where we had later onwards a few chances to make it 3-1, which we didn't. That's why it was tight till the end.
Your supporters were in fine voice at the end. They love this tournament. What does it mean now to be in the semi-finals?
No, we have to defend the trophy, because the club won it last season. I wasn't involved, but the players were, and Jurgen, of course, with his staff. So we want to compete in every league, and this is one of them. So we're happy that we reached the semi-final. Although we're also aware of Newcastle, Arsenal, and probably it's either Tottenham and Manchester. So it's going to be it's always a tough competition, but this time for sure.
And how did you enjoy the view from upstairs, staying out of trouble?
You have a very good view. It's not the first time that I sit there. Sometimes I go to the stadium just to enjoy a game, so you always have a better view than when you are down. But sometimes also difficult where you want to have. You want to influence your players. That is a bit more difficult from upstairs. But I have such a good staff with Sipke, with Aaron and with John, that these three, or even when I wasn't even around, these three were able to bring this game over the line.
Side, you just knew that if they were to get the next goal, the crowd would get back involved, the players would start to get up for it, and they'd have a go at it, and they did. You know, they came from nowhere, the goal that got them back into the game, and all of a sudden the fans who've been absolutely so frustrated, so down all season, they thought, OK, we're having a go. Yeah. You know, I've actually enjoyed watching Southampton tonight. The goalkeeper's kicking it long, they're cheering that, rather than trying to play out from the back. So there was a bit of a reaction in that sense. Yeah. And they got involved, they had a game, they made it difficult for us. A couple of nervy moments. I think Kelleher deserves a mention on sort of the hour mark. It's 2-1, makes a big save. A minute later, Kwanzaa makes a big block. Yeah. If it goes 2-2 then, you start thinking, could maybe Southampton have gone on and won it? Didn't create a lot second half. Think of Chiesa's big chance. Yeah. That would have put the game to bed. But they always stayed in the game, Southampton. You're thinking they might get one more moment. And it came late on, that sort of 92nd, 93rd minute, when VAR would probably still be looking at it now, because we've got used to that. Thankfully, no VAR, which helped the game. Yeah. But it could have had a big part to play in that incident.
I mean, you played a number of positions. I don't know how often they switch you around within games from midfield to fullback or whatever it might have been, but obviously in Tyler Morton's case, that's what happened tonight. Endo started at centre-half and played some of the time in the middle of the park. Is that difficult for players within the 90 minutes?
If it's not your most natural position, I mean, Trent, you look at Trent, he started off as a centre midfielder, went to the right, so when he drifts into that midfield area, he feels comfortable. I was the same, you know, I played in midfield for Bolton, came to Liverpool, played right back, more of a wing-back position, but then got comfortable with that. So if I had to go into midfield, it always felt comfortable. I don't think Tyler's plays right back. I don't think he's ever played it in the sense of that's his position. And he's made it his own. He's a centre midfielder, so to go out on that right-hand side was obviously alien to him, and I think he struggled a little bit. And plus Chiesa on the right-hand side, it took him, you know, a large part of that second half to actually implement or put himself about in the game. It was only the last 10 minutes he kind of came alive, and he struggled really, which is understandable. He's been out for a while, and you know, I just to touch on your point, the second half, I think it come a bit of a shock for Liverpool that Southampton went against their philosophy, really. They made it more physical, and I don't know whether the manager, Rusk, has made a point of that at half-time by saying to his players, listen, they've got a few kids on the pitch, let's win them second ball, they're in a game, let's be a little bit physical with them, let's leave a little bit on them, and we might get a bit of a just reward for it, and they did, and you know, it was a long 45 minutes or 50 minutes, that second half, wasn't it? There'll be players for Liverpool coming off knowing they've been in a battle there.
Yeah, I imagine, though, as long as you come out on the right side of it, it's a good feeling, isn't it? It's a relief, but it's also like, OK, we've got through that storm.
I think the massive positive is we've got through, and you think about the key players who've not been involved tonight. You know, you look at goalkeeper Alisson's not played tonight, Van Dijk's not played, Salah's not played, Diaz hasn't played, so there's going to be a little bit of freshness out of a big game at the weekend. So the lads have done great, and it's difficult because some of the lads who've played tonight, they haven't got that rhythm, they haven't got that sort of the consistency in the performance, so it's harder to get going, and they did extremely well to get through. It was never going to be easy. Even at 2-0, you're thinking there's going to be some kind of a reaction.
You felt they needed another one, didn't you? Just because... You know,
and also there was a lot of oddities tonight, weren't there? First time the manager's not been on the touchline to try and organise. He's got his assistants, but he's up in the stand. Lots of players either starting their first game in Harvey Elliott's case, looking for a change in one of the two players playing in different positions, Chiesa coming back. There was a lot of new things or changes tonight from what Liverpool have got into the groove of doing.
Yeah, and for as much as you're on the training ground, not playing football matches, which a lot of these players don't in that first team, it's very difficult to understand the strategy, the philosophy, the tempo, the fluidity of the way they play. I mean, you look at the first team now, I mentioned it before, he's very consistent with that first team selection, and they've all got up to speed quite quick, and at times they play some really nice stuff, and you can see exactly how the manager wants to play. But tonight, it was 11 players that were basically thrown in together to say, right, let's have a look here and let's see how we play. And at times in the first half, it just looked like we were watching the first team. It was patient. They were picking the opportunities to go long. They were right at it, and they, like I said, they got their reward with two really good goals. But then second half, they just lose their way a little bit. And like I mentioned, I think that's partly down to Southampton changing their tactics a little bit, being a bit more physical. But, Liverpool with a lot of new players and subs coming on, it kind of was a disjointed second half.
And playing out of position as well. Mentioned about Tyler, playing right back. Endo, thought he did great at centre half.
True.
Tsimikas has been out for a while. He comes back into at left full back. So you're thinking of three of the back four there who've not had a lot of sort of game time in
Elliott
their
playing in a few different positions. Nunes starts central, ends up left. And there was quite a lot of jiggery pokery.
A lot of changes. So to get through that, and you're just hoping there's no injuries, there's no kind of setbacks before what would be a big game at the weekend against Spurs. I think Spurs playing tomorrow's a boost as well. You think about that.
And what team does he pick with Sunday in mind and so on? Can he afford to
we've made 8 changes.
Yeah.
I don't think Spurs are making 8 changes on that one.
I think Ange has put himself under pressure at the beginning of the season by we will win a trophy. He's now got to the quarter-final stage. It's kind of like he can smell it a little bit. We mentioned with Liverpool, didn't we? Top of the show, you get to that quarter-final, you can see Wembley a little bit, can't you? He's going to want to win that game.
There's usually a championship team left, isn't it?
Yeah,
all big teams, aren't they?
But Amorim, obviously, he wants to win something to get the fans on side, to get his team moving in the right direction. He'll want it as well. That's a big game tomorrow.
It is. It is. Nice to be in the semi-finals, watching on with interest, isn't it?
It is.
Let's, as promised, bring in our 3-man fan panel.
Has to get a better contact on the ball. Alex McCarthy then slips as well, which makes it a simpler finish in the end for Nunes.
Yeah, and Nunes does well. The run, he makes the run first and foremost. Debatable, is he onside, offside? It's tight. There's no VAR, of course, like you mentioned at half-time. But this situation, I don't think Nunes' first touch is brilliant. And I think he's lucky the way that it falls to him. But he's got the endeavour. He takes this touch here, almost goes away from him. But I think because McCarthy slipped here, as he's getting up, it gives Nunes the time to actually then get on the end of that touch.
We can see that slip just there.
Yeah, it's pivotal in that moment because Nunes is coming at him centrally, and McCarthy's central. There's actually less of the goal for Nunes to aim at, but it gives him that slight angle, Nunes, to provide the finish in the bottom.
Do you give Nunes some credit there? I know you're not a big fan of the first touch, but bearing in mind there is a school of thought that he's a much better finisher when he doesn't have time to think about it, and he was clean through there.
Yeah, I certainly think so, and I think his first touch actually takes it away from him. You'd expect most forwards in the Premier League to take a cleaner first touch at this point. I'm being really, really picky here. He smashed the ball into the back of the net, which is the most important thing.
He isn't going to miss that. Listen, he's needed a goal, and his finishing hasn't been great this season. But if you want an opportunity to get yourself going, that is exactly it. Yeah.
He needed it.
And the second goal, I mean, the build-up is great here.
It is, and it's all about Harvey Elliott's movement for me. McAllister, his midfield partner, drifts wide. He's bottom of the screen. And Harvey Elliott just takes a sort of central number 10 position, but it's his movement, we'll probably see it on the second angle. Finish is excellent, takes a small deflection off Manning, but we can just watch here highlighted in the top of the screen. He goes into the space to then step out of the space, which actually gives him that half a yard to then go and take the first touch and fire across Alex McCarthy, but you can see it here even better. Defenders are in a bit of a twist, they don't know how to mark him, and the way that his movement, first touch with his left foot, right foot finish.
That's the key for me in terms of putting the ball exactly where you want to have it to get that next touch, which is going to be your finish, albeit on his right side. But the way he just cushions it, takes the weight out of the ball, but puts it in front of him, yes, gets a deflection on the way through, but a really lovely finish.
When you look at Southampton, so many times this season, and I know they've been criticised defensively, but you look at their possession stats or chances created stats, they're not in the bottom half of the Premier League. They're top half, but they can't score. Now, if Cameron Archer could do this a little bit more in the Premier League, then who knows? Yeah,
listen, it's a brilliant, first of all, intent to go and be positive and get himself, the minute he cuts onto that right foot, again, for those of us who've seen him in the Championship, it's what he has done, and he's so sharp. And again, for me here, there's only one thing on his mind, which is what I really loved. Brilliant finish from that angle. Liverpool defending has to be better though.
Yeah, I mean, the cover, you've got to cover that inside space. You can see from his body language, he checks here onto his right foot. It's Morton who's covering, and I think he just over-covers a little bit and gives Cameron Archer the chance to sort of shape that, and what a finish.
And then 3 minutes later, he had another chance which brought a good save from Kevin Kelleher.
Yeah, fantastic reaction save, and just felt like the whole mood at St Mary's had changed. I think Southampton players felt certainly a lot more belief than they had done in the rest of the game. They had a really good period, and unlucky there, obviously, with that first one. This one's a great block there. Fantastic defending to make sure he gets across, and there was a real time in that game where you did feel that Southampton were going to get themselves back in it and draw themselves level. But
this is a great save. In a
reaction.
ballpark of Emi Martinez saves, by the way, off the back of the weekend. That's average. No, I'm really joking.
I was wondering where you're going
brilliant.
with that.
That's brilliant. That's a brilliant instinctive save, and I don't think there was any more that Archer could have done. I think he's really clever with the way he
Most saves look average compared to the Emi Martinez one at the weekend. Southampton do, I would imagine, we haven't heard from them yet, feel aggrieved at this. It probably wasn't a penalty.
It's a foul. Absolutely.
And a free kick
and
a red card.
Yeah, I mean, the minute Quansah allows this ball to bounce, he's banging trouble. You know, Fernandez is getting the other side of him. And at first, from behind, you may feel the ball's not going to go all the way, it's going to bounce through to Kelleher. But when you look at it from the other angle, I think that's the thing that, for me, we'll see it better here. Look, Quansah's got to get to the pitch of the ball and just get something on it. Doesn't. Now he's all over Fernandez, drags him down. Look where that ball stops there. Kelleher's not going to get there. Fernandez would be the one getting onto that, and for me, it's a really poor decision.
Yeah, it's the wrong decision. Should have been sent off, and yeah, it wasn't a penalty. But I really like the run from Fernandez, the endeavour, and I think that's what we're talking about with Southampton. That kind of desire in the last minute to try and get back in the game. They can definitely take that through into the.
Well, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, OK, this is how we've done it, albeit against a slightly changed Liverpool side, but to harness some of that fight and desire, which most definitely wasn't there on Sunday when they were beaten by Tottenham.
No,
sure I get a good connection and hopefully it went in.
You spoke about some of the young boys there. I'm talking to you like you're old, obviously you're not, but you've played a lot of games. But a night like that is a good experience to have to sort of guts it out and hold on for the last 20 minutes or so.
Absolutely. It's a learning curve for everyone, and it's experience for everyone, really. You know, football's going to be like this. There's going to be times when you're against the ropes, and it's tough during the game, and you just need to keep fighting and defending as a team and sticking together. And despite whether you're young or oldest player in the team, all of these experiences are only going to help you and keep pushing you forward. And yeah, we're just very happy to come away with the win, and we can advance into the next round now.
And for you as well, does it feel like you're coming back to help the team at just the right time in terms of plenty more games to come over Christmas, and you've just added another two-legged semi-final as well to the mix early in the new year? Absolutely.
There's many games this season, and especially with this period coming up, it's just about staying ready now, staying fit. Can't have the excuse of I don't have game time because I just played 90 minutes. So it's just, as I said, staying fit, staying ready, and whenever the team need me, hopefully I can do what I did tonight and score.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate.
مانشستر سيتي يحقق أرباح قياسية. أعلن مانشستر سيتي حامل لقب الدوري الإنجليزي الممتاز لكرة القدم اليوم تحقيقه إيرادات قياسية للعام التالي التوالي، إذ ارتفع إجمالي الأرباح إلى 902.76 مليون دولار للعام المنتهي في يونيو حزيران 2024، وهو ما يزيد على الأرباح التي حققها النادي قبل عام والتي بلغت 901.83 مليون دولار. وأعلن مانشستر سيتي أيضا تحقيق ربح إجمالي قبل الضرائب بلغ 73.8 مليون جنيه استرليني، وكان هذا أقل بنحو 8% عن العام الماضي، لكنه استمر في تحقيق أرباح في كل عام منذ 2014-2015 باستثناء موسم 2019 و2020 المتأثر بجائحة كوفيد-19. وكان نمو إيرادات حامل لقب الدوري الإنجليزي مدعوما بزيادة إيرادات أيام المباريات وغيرها من الإيرادات التجارية، لكنه تأثر بانخفاض عائد البث التلفزيوني بسبب إقصاء الفريق من دور الثمانية من دوري أبطال أوروبا. وفي تعليق على هذه الإنجازات قائمة الفني للنادي فيران سوريانو كان تحقيق لقب الدوري الإنجليزي ممتاز للمرة الرابعة على التوالي إنجازا وضع مانشستر سيتي في مكان لم يصل إليها أي نادي إنجليزي آخر. وأضاف أن الفوز بثلاثية في الموسم السابق لم يولد أي شعور بالرضا لدى فريقنا. إذا دخلنا الملعب وخارجه ونحن نفهم تماما أن السعي المستمر لتحقيق كرة قدم جميلة والتفوق التشغيلي والابتكار دائما يتطلب العمل الجاد والمرونة. ويعاني فريق المدرب الإسباني بيب غوارديولا من سلسلة من 7 هزائم في آخر 10 مباريات في المسابقة كافة، ويجد نفسه حاليا في المركز الرابع بفارق 8 نقاط عن ليفربول المتصدر بعد 15 مرحلة، مع مباراة مؤجلة أيضا في جعبة الأخير.